G'day friends, welcome to this quick editing tutorial where I run you through the 10 steps that I take on every single photo. I'm going to take it from a raw image all the way to the finished product, and I'm going to show you everything I do along the way. So to start with, we're going to do lens corrections, then we're going to move on to our global edits where we do exposure, white balance, and presence of the image. Then we're going to move on to the tonal curve. After that, we're going to look at sharpening and denoising if needed, followed by cropping and framing your photo properly. Then looking at brushing in certain bits and pieces, the whole dodging and burning thing. And then we're going to revisit the global and just tweak everything a little bit before we get it ready to export. And I'll show you the proper exporting settings for different things as well. Let's dive straight in and run you through my process. Just saying, this is my process. Doesn't mean it's the right process. It's just how I create images like this. This image is something I shot a couple of years ago while I was on a little bit of a motorbike tour down in Tasmania. It looks like I've kind of overexposed it, but shooting raw, chances are I'll be able to bring out some of the details out of that. So let's start with lens corrections first. I'm going to hit lens corrections. That is going to change the distortion and the vignetting that comes from different lenses. And then remove chromatic aberration, and that will take off the weird little red lines you get from the dark tone. After that, we're going to move up to the basics. And first of all, I'm going to bring those highlights down and hope, there we go. We've got some details in there. Bring exposure down just a little bit, and then the shadows up to bring out the details in the edges here and just give us a bit of a flat profile to work with. A bit of contrast to start, we'll come back to that. Lights down a little bit, blacks up a little bit. I'm just going to hit J and make sure I haven't blown anything out. For example, what I mean by that, oh wow, there's lots of detail in this. So when the red comes up, that means you've lost the detail there. So I'm going to bring that back down to where it was, just hit Control Z. You actually see with the histogram, everything is very well balanced. So we've got a lot to work with in this image. After step 1 and 2, I'm going to adjust the white balance. I really want to warm this right up. Bring the tint up as well, bring those magentas out, and probably then go back to bring the exposure down a little bit to make it look more like what it was looking like while I was there. I'm going to go and reduce the clarity, bring up the texture just a little bit. You'll notice the details come out in the rocks a little bit more with the texture, and the clarity makes it a bit softer. So soft yet sharp, if that makes any sense. After that, I'm going to put the vibrance up just a little bit. And that will make the colors come out in the least vibrant areas, whereas saturation just saturates everything. And that can be very easily overused. After the basics, we're going to move on to the tone curve. And I want to just affect just the highlights and just the shadows. So shadows are going to bring down a little bit, darks up a little bit to bring out more detail. And bring those lights down to really bring the sunset out, and then highlights up just a little bit, but we'll go and tweak that again later. We're going to go to detail, and we're going to bring the sharpening up quite a bit, but also then going to hit Option or Alt and mask off a lot of that sharpening. I don't want to see me sharpening the sky at all, so I'm going to slide this till the sky and the clouds almost disappear. And then I'm just going to be sharpening the details in the rocks. There we go. Now we're looking good. After that, I'm going to hit R, and I'm going to crop this in just a little bit. Actually, quite a lot actually, because I do not like that rock. It is out of focus. It just kind of detracts from the image. And then probably again on this side. I do like the fact that everything leads in to this rock in the middle. Everything just kind of draws you into the image. I'm going to hit R, and that is my final crop that I'm going to work with. After that, I'm going to hit K, and I'm going to brush in a few things. I'm going to bring that brush down a little bit, and I'm just going to brush in the sides here, and I'm going to darken these rocks. Because right now, you can tell that the sun actually wasn't shining on them, and they just look a little bit out of place. I'm going to bring more focus to the sunset in the back there. I do, however, want to bring up the clarity on these to just make it seem Like there's more detail in the rocks there. There we go. Now we're looking good. Darken this little bit down the bottom here. And hit K again. Really smooth off this water. It was already a 30-second exposure, so the water rushing in was already smoothed over. I just want to enhance that just a touch. Get rid of the clarity and the texture. You can see just a little bit of detail there. Finally, I'm just gonna brush in the sky just a little bit. I'm gonna bring those highlights down. Warm it right up in there. Also just gonna go remove subject. That's gonna get rid of everything but the sky. So we're looking good on brushes. I'm then gonna go back to the global and just revisit everything a little bit. Bring the warmth up of this image just a little bit more in the contrast. And then bring the darks down a touch, the shadows, sorry. Even the darks a little bit more. Lights as well. After that, the final step is to export it. So I'm going to go Shift-Command-E. So I've got my photography folder just on my hard drive. I'm going to go put it in a subfolder, Tasmania. And then down here we're going to name it Bay of Fires. Also going to have the original file number on the end, just in case I need to search for it in a later date. I'm going to go with JPEG. If I want to save digital negative, DNG, or for print, look at TIFFs, but that's a whole different video. For now, just keep it a JPEG. I'm not going to have file size limit and have it, obviously, have the quality at 100. If I was going to resize it to fit for web or Instagram, FYI, vertical is 1080 by 1350, 1350 high, 1080 wide, vice versa for the landscapes. Or for web, if I was resizing it for web, I don't want it to be perfectly optimized. Output sharpening, sharpen for screen, unless I was print. You've got other options here, definitely just for screen. And then we go, export, and we're done. That's that. And you go from this raw image to this final product with those 10 steps. I do that on every single image. Well guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys making it this far. If you have made it this far, you may as well go ahead and like and subscribe. It actually really helps the videos get seen by a wider audience. So if you found this informative, someone else might, ideally. That's really just why I'm doing this. I've been distracted by the sunset the entire time, so I'm gonna edit this video later. I'm gonna go shoot sunset now. I'll see you guys next week. Let's go.